ended. My name is Tracy Ann, and it is day 24 of the Junk Journal July 2025 challenge. Our prompt for today is contrast. So I decided to approach contrast with the idea of the contrast between who I was as a young girl and who I am now as an adult woman. So that was kind of the beginning point of contrast. I found this empowered, determined, unstoppable woman image in another book and decided that I was going to use that to sort of represent the now. But the page wasn't quite large enough for my book page. So I glued it to one of the extra pages that I wasn't using, and then took some colored pencils to extend the image beyond the original image and onto the book page behind. That gave me a piece that was large enough to go from top to bottom of my book page, and ultimately what I did was cut it out so that it would create a pocket. This idea of extending an image that exists onto my journaling page is one of my favorite techniques. I've used it a couple of times during this challenge. It's definitely a go-to. I don't particularly consider myself an expert drawer, but I do usually find that I can extend a drawing at least enough to give the idea of what was there, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction to be able to do that. This was a fairly straightforward drawing to extend. So that was pretty much it. Then I decided that I wanted to make a pocket, but that I was going to use the edge of her, this woman, to be the edge of the pocket so that you would be able to see a little bit of what was underneath. So I just fussy cut around the outside edge. And I was originally thinking that I would keep the pink next to her neck just because I thought it made for a more logical pocket, which is why there's that pink piece there. But a little bit later I did go back in and cut that off. I didn't want to see the writing underneath, so just adding a little bit of glue here so that I could glue down some paper to the back. I didn't need to go all the way down since I'm creating a pocket. You won't see the whole page, so I didn't want the extra bulk, and I also didn't have enough of this paper to actually cover the whole page. But I did like the way that it turned out, and I also thought that checkered background tied really nicely with the lettering on the facing page, which, even though it's not part of the spread, I did think it went along well with the spread that I was putting together for today's prompt. So how are you doing with the challenge? Day 24, we are about a week away from the end. I'm starting to feel a little bit sad about finishing this book. It has become kind of a friend that I enjoy coming back to each day. I have been enjoying looking through the book as I find the next page to use for a prompt and remembering the work that I did and what I learned about myself and about my process in making the pages. So I used my double-sided red tape on 3 sides of the image to create a pocket. and then adhered that down. I wanted to give her just a little bit more of a punch, and I had these, well, I thought they were stickers, but they turned out to be rub-ons. I had them for a while, and so I thought about putting those on there to make her seem, I don't know, a little bit more powerful. I wasn't sure that I liked those particular wings, so I grabbed my butterfly collection and looked in that just to see if there was something that I thought would work better color-wise. And I ended up choosing this butterfly. I thought the blues in the butterfly wings went really nicely with the blue of her jeans. So that's why I kind of went that route. And then here's where I decided that I wanted to cut the pink out so that I could get the butterfly in and have it coming from behind her. So that one was fairly easy to place. And I went ahead and just glued that down quickly. Keeping in mind, I glued that to the back of the page so that when you inserted something into the pocket, it would go in front of that butterfly wing. And then I thought briefly about just trimming the edge of the butterfly and realized I was not going to be able to do that cleanly. So I happen to have this really small cutting board, and so I put that inside of the pocket and then used my X-Acto knife to trim around the edge of her shoulder. And then I was able to just kind of tuck the butterfly wing in behind. And in this case, I glued to the top so that it would stay on the pocket and not impede anything that I put inside. This is a picture of me when I was about, I don't know, 4 or 5. And I thought that would be a good contrast. And it fit pretty well inside of the pocket. So I really didn't have to do very much to it at all. Do you use your own personal images in your junk journals? I'd be curious to know. Let me know what you do in the comments below. So here I'm going back to my butterfly stash and trying to choose one to put on the side as a little pull-out for the photo. I thought about giving myself a crown and then decided not to. But I did want to do some quick journaling to sort of underscore the idea of the contrast between the then and the now. And then my daily label, just as with all of the other pages, and that finished up the spread. This one was pretty straightforward, but I hope that you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, please give me a like and maybe even consider subscribing. I'm looking forward to the next day of Junk Journal July, and I hope you will join me tomorrow to see what comes next. And until next time, I hope you make a great day.